It's just interesting that you bring this up in that regard, and that he did as well. It's just fine. I don't know. It just seems more and more difficult to determine what an athlete does consider making him or her happy.
Yeah.
Certainly in the NFL, we just saw Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh, where clearly he's also known league-wide as the best wide receiver. And he was talking about disrespect. And a lot of people view that as he didn't get any more guaranteed dollars from the Steelers on the table. That made him unhappy, and now he's very happy in Oakland, California.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Another one is Odell Beckham as well. Unhappy here. His statements in his first press conference with Cleveland just landed with me, knowing that the Giants would have killed to have heard that out of his mouth when he was here in New York City.
For sure. The thing about Odell, though, and I have always kind of said this, is it just reached a point where Odell couldn't be a Giant any longer. And I think that he was, not that he was necessarily happy to be going to Cleveland, but he was happy to have a clean slate at a place where he felt like he was going to have new management and new teammates, and just be in a place where he felt maybe more comfortable, where he could be himself.
Why is that? I mean, again, you covered New York sports for SNY before joining Bleacher Report. You've interviewed Odell. You know him. Why could it not work in New York City for Odell?
In some ways, I just think people decided who Odell was. And when people decide who you're going to be, it's very hard to get out of that box. So if everyone thinks that like Odell is a diva that always wants attention and is always like running around the field and like being this an extra human being, he could go 5 games and not do that. But since he already did it once, he's going to be that to you forever. And especially in New York, it's very hard to get out of a perception that anybody has for you. So he can go to Cleveland, and now he's Cleveland Odell, and he's no longer New York Odell. And I think that it was the best thing, and I just hope that he gets to Cleveland and he goes off and he ends up being this best wide receiver that we all think that he is. But I think it's been really challenging for him to know that some people don't see him as that based on things that happened surrounding the game, if that makes sense.
It does. Although you just wish, obviously for Giants fans who adored number 13 and for people who got to meet him out and about in the community here in the New York City metropolitan area.
Great.
I know that whoever put in his mind whatever box he was put in, that he couldn't get out of it here in New York.
I also think, granted, the New York media is unlike anything I have ever experienced. I mean, people would always say that, but then when I moved here, it's like if you do one thing, it's everywhere. And when Odell did do certain things, sometimes
like
I think
to
it was
kicking net,
exactly. It sticks with you forever, and it was kind of blown up. Whereas we think it's funny, it became this thing of like, look at Odell having his antics on the sideline. And in New York, it's just, it'll eat you alive. One of the people that I have coming up this season on the show is Saquon Barkley, and we talk about that. He's like, I feel very fortunate that I don't have any negative, articles about me right now, but he's like, it's bound to happen in New York. One day there is going to be something bad about me. Something bad will happen, and I'm going to have to deal with that. And I think that's what athletes think all the time when they come to the big city.
I could not imagine one bad thing about Saquon.
Right?
Me neither.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's just a stand-up dude.
I have nothing but a man crush on Saquon, but he knows that.
No, you told him.
Did I tell him?
You
that?
did.
Yeah,
No, you told him that. Yeah, straight up at the Super Bowl.
That's great.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.